Mr. and Mrs. Luce have 7 daughters. Each daughter has 1 brother. Can you tell how many people there are in the family? The correct answer is 10. Mr. Luce, Mrs. Luce, 7 daughters, and 1 brother. Dr. Luce is a world-famous chemist.
Wow.
He has just arrived in London to attend an international science seminar. The next morning, the lab cleaner found Dr. Luce unconscious on the floor. One of the 6 lab assistants poisoned the chemist. The names of the 6 assistants are Austin, William, Oscar, Leo, DJ, and Robert. To solve this case, lab managers called the local detective, Mr. Smith. Dr. Luce left this mysterious note on the table. Here's what he wrote: 76, 20, 44, 79, 16, 22, 7. After reading the note, Mr. Smith asked the police to arrest 2 criminals. Who are the criminals? Oscar and Dustin. Remember that Dr. Luce is a chemist? He encrypted the names of his enemies using the periodic table hanging on the wall. Dr. Luce got better and returned to his work in the lab. He invited a young scientist, Oscar, for a job interview. His resume was too good to be true, so Dr. Luce decided to check Oscar's logical thinking. He offered Oscar to solve this number puzzle. Oscar cracked this task right away. What about you? Here's a little hint. You should read this puzzle from left to right and from top to bottom. Question 1. What are the next 2 rows of numbers? And question 2. Why? Here's the correct answer. Line 3 represents 2 1s. Line 4 then becomes 1 2 and 1 1. Line 5, therefore, is 1 1, 1 2, and 2 1s. Using the same logic, we can now decode line 6, 3 1s, 2 2s, and 1 1. Line 7 is 1 3, 1 1, 2 2s, and 2 1s. Dr. Luce hired Oscar and took him to the basement of the lab, but someone has changed the password on the door. Can you help the guys guess the code? This rebus is a hint. The correct password is summary. Dr. Luce offered one more riddle to his new employee.
How can a man go 8 days without sleep?
Can you help Oscar crack this one? The correct answer is easily, because people sleep at night. In the basement, Dr. Luce found out that someone had stolen his latest innovation, a superhero costume.
Oh no!
He had questioned 3 suspects. Jack, the cleaner, said,
I've been cleaning the floor in the hallway all morning. I haven't entered your office yet.
Peter, the lab assistant, said, I was working on my own project, and besides, I don't have a key to your private office. And Dr. Luce's wife, Helen, said, You never tell me anything about your work. How would I know what to steal? Dr. Luce took fingerprints from the closet where the costume was. But he found only his own fingerprints. Who stole the costume? It was Helen. She's the only one who's wearing gloves.
Oh.
After a short interrogation, Helen confessed that she had sold the costume to Dr. Luce's major enemy, Dr. Phillips. Dr. Luce went to his lab to take his invention back. A creepy guard stopped Dr. Luce at the entrance and asked for a password. Can you help Dr. Luce find out the code? See the sign on the wall? You should rearrange these letters to spell just a single word. So, the correct password is a single word. Dr. Luce entered the building and found himself in a strange place guarded by 2 people. One of the guards always says the truth, while the other one always lies. Dr. Luce doesn't know who is who. He can only ask one question to escape. What should he ask? If he asks the guard who always tells the truth, he would tell that the other guard would point to the dangerous door. And if he asks the guard who always lies, he would tell the opposite door of the truth-telling guard and point to the dangerous door. In either case, both guards will point to the dangerous door, and then Dr. Luce should just choose the other door. Dr. Luce entered the room and saw this group of scientists. Can you spot anything weird in this picture? The scientists are holding 4 slices of pizza in their hands, but only 3 pieces are missing from the pizza box. Dr. Luce entered Dr. Phillips's office. The room was empty. Can you help him find anything suspicious? Someone is hiding in the ceiling vent. Suddenly, Dr. Luce saw Dr. Phillips flying around in the superhero costume. He grabbed Dr. Luce, took him to the top of a mountain, and left him there alone. Dr. Luce wandered around and found 3 tunnels. There's an angry, hungry lion in the first tunnel. There's a huge fire in the second tunnel. And the third tunnel leads through a dinosaur lair. Which way should Dr. Luce choose? The third one. Dinosaurs became extinct millions of years ago. Dr. Luce came to a village and asked the local farmer, Rick, for a glass of water. Rick told him that he'd been struggling to divide his entire land between his 2 sons. Both of the sons have been very good to him. And now, Rick's only wish is to treat his sons fairly and divide his land equally between them. But the problem is that the land has a weird shape, and thus, there's no way to split it into 2 equal halves. Dr. Luce said,
I have an idea. It can guarantee that the land will be divided in a manner that will satisfy both sons.
Can you guess what's on his mind? All Rick needs to do is ask one of his sons to divide the land into 2 parts and tell him that the other son will have the choice of selecting one of those 2 halves. In this manner, both of them will avoid any tricks and divide the land equally. Dr. Luce was sitting at the local restaurant. He was sad because he'd lost his wallet during his adventures. He noticed a man next to him pulling a wad of $100 notes out of his pocket. Dr. Luce turned to the rich guy and said,
Hey, I have an amazing talent. I know almost every song that has ever existed.
The rich guy laughed. Dr. Luce then said,
I'm willing to bet you all the money you have in your wallet that I can sing a genuine song with a lady's name of your choice in it.
The rich man laughed again and said, Okay, how about my wife's name? Helga, Fiona, Mary, Rose, Holmes. This evening, the rich man went home poor, and Dr. Luce went home rich. What song did he sing? The Happy Birthday Song. The villagers told Dr. Luce mystical legends about the local forest. He liked creepy stories and decided to go there and see it for himself. He set off at night and soon got to the forest. He noticed a small shop nearby. The seller said, Hey bro, don't go to this forest unequipped. Take this magic potion. It will make any creepy monster fall asleep for 10 hours. Dr. Luce took 1 bottle and continued the journey. He wandered there for several hours, but he didn't see anything mysterious. Dr. Luce was about to leave right before dawn. Someone appeared in front of him. A pair of vampires that feed on humans and a siren who hunts people using her singing. So there are 3 enemies, but Dr. Luce has only 1 potion. What should he do? The sun will rise in a few seconds, and vampires will run away. That's why he should pour the potion at the siren. Dr. Luce found an abandoned castle. As soon as he entered, someone locked the door. Dr. Luce found 3 ways out, but all of them were dangerous. The first path was full of hungry wolves. It was impossible to get through. The second passage was guarded by 5 vacuum cleaner robots that were reprogrammed to hunt down humans. And the third passage was filled with molten lava. What door should he choose? The second one. The vacuum cleaners might go after him, but they're pretty harmless. Finally, Dr. Luce returned to his hometown. He's also a college teacher. Unfortunately, he didn't have enough time to prepare for the upcoming class. Therefore, he offered the students this tricky lesson. There was no homework, assignments, or tests, but there was a final test that would have only one question on it. When everyone received the test, it was a blank sheet of paper with a question on it. What is risk? Most students managed to give their answers, but only one student deserved the highest grade.
Yes!
That's weird because he only wrote down one word. What did he write? His reply was this. Dr. Luce went on a business trip to Vienna. He felt very nervous because he was about to meet a lady he used to date in college, Jane. She's also a scientist who's currently working on immortality pills. That's why she asked Dr. Luce to come over and help her. As soon as he entered her office, he knew that something had gone wrong. 3 zombies were standing in the room. Can you tell which one is his ex-girlfriend? Take a look at Dr. Luce's hand. He has a tattoo, T plus J. So his girlfriend is the second zombie because she has a tag on her foot that says Jane. Allison has 2 coins which total 35 cents. If one of the coins isn't a dime, what are the 2 coins Allison has? Well, one is not a dime, but the other one is a dime. So Allison has a quarter and a dime. Let's start with a couple of simple teasers to warm up your brain for today's challenge. The day before yesterday was the 17th. What is the day after tomorrow? If the day before yesterday was the 17th, it means that today is the 19th. So the day after tomorrow is the 21st. Wendy's birthday was yesterday. She turned 16 years old. Yet, she's turning 17 this year. How is it possible? Wendy's birthday must be December 31st, and today must be January 1st, already the new year. A family is on vacation, carelessly chilling at the beach all day long. They were drinking their iced cocktails when suddenly, the youngest daughter, Odette, asked,
"What day of the week is today?"
No one knew. The father said, "I only know what tomorrow is, neither Thursday nor Friday." The mother said,
"And I'm sure that yesterday wasn't Saturday or Sunday."
and Adele, an older sister, said,
"Today is definitely not Friday, not a Monday, and not a Tuesday."
What day is today? Let's cross out all the impossible days. From Dad, we know that it's not Wednesday and not a Thursday. From Mom, we know that Sunday and Monday are also out. Adele said no to Tuesday and Friday, so it's a Saturday. Avery walked into a room and there were several doors there. On the first door, there was a sign saying, Lion's Den. On the second door, there was a sign saying, Mountaintop. On the third door, there was a sign with just a question mark. Still, Avery knew exactly where the third door was leading. Do you? The third door is the door Avery walked through, so it led back there. Once upon a time, there was a happy family living in a house in the shape of a dome. There was a mother, a father, their daughter, a chef, a maid, and a puppy named Oliver. One day, mother and father came back home and found out that Oliver had gone missing.
No.
They asked who was the last one to walk him, but everyone denied it. The daughter said, I was reading. The maid said, I was dusting the corners in the house.
The chef said, "I was baking an apple pie." Who is responsible for Oliver's disappearance? The maid. There's no corners in a dome-shaped house. Mrs. Lawrence has 3 daughters, Ava, Bethany, and Chloe. She's about to have another girl. What do you think she'll name her? Riley, Daphne, or Ava? Mrs. Lawrence seems to follow the alphabet, so I bet she'll name her 4th daughter Daphne. In the middle of a pond, there's a little island, and there's a butterfly sitting on a rock. If it swims north, it's 2 minutes to the mainland. If it swims east, it's 3 minutes to the mainland. If it swims south, it's 1 minute to the mainland. If it swims west, it's 5 minutes to the mainland. Which way should it swim? It shouldn't swim either way. Butterflies fly. Once upon a time, an evil witch kidnapped 3 women and turned them into rose bushes. One of the women begged the witch to see her husband before she left him forever. The witch agreed. She took the woman home for the night and returned her to her rosebush state the next morning. The woman had warned her husband, and the husband was following them to rescue his wife. Look at these 3 identical rose bushes. Which one is his wife? The rosebush that was his wife doesn't have any of the night's dew on the leaves. A married couple went on vacation. They locked up their house and gave the keys to a neighbor, along with instructions on what to control and maintain in the house. Just in case, the wife hid her jewelry in a safe place. While they were on vacation, there was a power outage in the house. There was no electricity for a couple of days, until the neighbor came back to check the house. The neighbor cleaned everything up by the time the couple got back. The wife couldn't find her jewelry. The neighbor swore that he didn't touch it. Where did the jewelry go? The wife hid them in a freezer. After the power outage, everything melted and the neighbor threw out all the food and jewelry as well by mistake. Now, a tricky question for you. What is the difference between electricity and lighting? You have to pay for electricity. Anna is bilingual. She speaks English and German. She had 4 exams to write: English, math, history, and geography. She wasn't prepared for them well, so she wrote all of them in German. All teachers returned her tests because they couldn't understand anything and suggested she write the test on a different day, in English. Still, one teacher could understand what she had written and gave her an F. Which teacher was it? It's the math teacher. Mathematics is all numbers, and they're the same in most languages, so the teacher could understand everything and check the exam. It's an early Monday morning. William and Daniel are both driving to work. Who is not being smart? Daniel. He hasn't fastened his seatbelt. It's not safe. James and Delaney are getting ready for a big family barbecue in the evening. James is cooking, and Delaney is busy with all the decorations. Who is not smart? James. He's cooking in the direct sun, and there's milk standing right there. It'll go bad very fast. Riley and Tessa are doing house chores. Riley is vacuum cleaning the house and Tessa is outside shoveling the snow. Which one of them is in danger? Tessa, look, she's standing right below big icicles hanging off the roof. Every day, a woman was seen crossing the border carrying bags of sand on a motorbike. After some time, the border police got suspicious and stopped her. But they found she had only sand in those bags, so they let her go. What was the woman smuggling across the border? The answer is right in front of their nose. She's been smuggling motorbikes. Jonas lives on a farm. He just bought 7 horses. He's riding one of the horses, leading the rest to his farm. On the way, he's counting the horses he has, but he can only see 6. Problem, he paid for 7. He takes off, walks away, and counts the horses again. 7. Everything is correct. He hops up on a horse and keeps riding home. Midway, he's counting the horses again. 6. What do you think is his problem? Jonas always forgets to count the horse he's sitting on. Grace and Hope are twins, and they like to mess with people. Grace lies on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and Hope lies on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. One day, you walk up to them and ask what day it is. Both of them say, "Yesterday was one of my lying days." Which day is it? It can't be a Sunday, because they both say the truth one Sunday, and someone is obviously lying now. So one of them is lying, and one of them is telling the truth. So it's either the first day Grace lies, or the first day Hope lies. So it's either Monday or Thursday. It can't be Monday, because in this case, both would lie saying yesterday was a lying day. So it's Thursday. Grace is telling the truth, and Hope is lying. Ben has an equal number of sisters and brothers, but each sister has twice more brothers as sisters. How many brothers and sisters are there in the family? There are 4 brothers and 3 sisters, so every boy has 3 brothers and 3 sisters. Every girl has 4 brothers and 2 sisters.
Imagine you are being interviewed for a job opening at one of the world's largest companies. I'm talking about Google, Microsoft, or even Elon Musk's SpaceX. But to get your dream job, you have to pass a very tricky entry exam. I've gathered some of the questions that are actually used in these tests, so put on your thinking hat and don't settle for less than 100%. Good luck. We'll start out easy. The first riddle you need to solve is the 2-jug riddle. Here's the drill. Your mother asks you to measure 4 cups of orange juice using 2 jugs. The thing is, you have a 20-cup jug and a 36-cup jug. How can you do it? You need to start by pouring the orange juice into the smaller jug. Then, pour all the juice from that jug into the 36-cup jug. This way, the empty space from the big jug would give you 16 cups. After doing that, you can fill the 20-cup jug using more fresh juice and pour that liquid into the 36-cup jug. This way, you'll fill the entire 36-cup jug. And what is left in the smaller jug is the 4 cups of juice your mom asked for. Clever, huh? Moving on to the second round. Say your room has 3 switches, and one of these switches is for the fan in the room next door. You cannot see whether the fan is on or off unless you come out of your room. Got that? Okay, so I need you to figure out what's the minimum amount of times you need to go inside the room next door to identify the correct switch that turns on the fan. This is a little bit tricky, but here's the solution. The minimum amount of times you can go inside the room next door and still figure out the answer is 1. Imagine you turned on the first switch in your bedroom and left it on for a bit. As soon as you turn it off, you quickly turn on the second switch and run to the room next door. If the fan is rotating slowly and is about to stop, that means that the first switch is the one that controls the fan. If the fan is running, then the second switch is the correct one. And if the fan isn't moving at all, then it was the third switch all along. Did you manage to crack this one? Hey, nobody said this was going to be easy. It's a mock job interview for a top-notch company after all. The third round is even trickier than the one before. An interviewer might ask you to solve this riddle to understand your pattern-finding capabilities. Let's say you were asked to watch a 6-lane car track for the day. Your job is to spot the 4 fastest cars out of 36. How many races would you conduct to find that out? Here's what you could do. Conduct 6 different car races, grouping 6 cars per race. After you determine the winner of each of these races, you conduct another race with the 6 finalists. The winner of this race will be determined as the fastest vehicle of all. Then just place the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th cars according to how they performed in the last race. By the end of 7 races, you'll have figured out the 4 fastest cars out of 36. Good for you if you figured this one out. For this next riddle, you need to think logically and mathematically. A queen needs to hire a worker for 7 days to do a job for her. The queen pays in gold bars, but she must pay the worker every day at the end of his shift. If the queen is only able to make a maximum of 2 cuts in the gold bar, how can she pay the worker the correct amount of 1/7 of the gold bar at the end of each shift? Let's see how this can work out. The queen makes 2 cuts in the bar, dividing it into 3 pieces. The first piece is 1/7 of the bar, the second piece is 2/7 of the bar, and the third one is 4/7 of the bar. After the first day of work, the queen gives the worker 1/7 of the bar as payment. On the next day, she gives him 2/7 of the bar, and asks for the 1/7 piece in return. At the end of the third day, she gives the worker the smallest piece again. This way, he has a total of 3/7 of the gold bar on his hands. Then, after the 4th day, the queen takes away the first 2 pieces and gives the man 4/7 of the bar. At the end of day 5, she gives the worker 1/7 of the bar again. And at the end of day 6, she gives the worker 2/7 of the bar and gets the 1/7 piece back. On day 7, she pays him with the final 1/7 piece, and the deal is completed. Ready for the last round of the first level? If you've answered everything correctly so far, I dare to say you are a part of a very special group of people. Good luck with this next one. It will determine whether you'll move on to the second level. 2 buses are driving toward each other at a speed of 40 miles per hour. They're separated by a distance of 40 miles. A bird is flying to and fro, landing on bus 1 and then on bus 2 at a speed of 50 miles per hour. By the time the buses come across each other, how many miles will the little bird have flown? Math lovers, this one's for you. The first thing we need to find out is the time it would take for the buses to meet. To find that out, we should divide the distance between the buses by the combined speed of both vehicles. If they're both driving at 40 miles per hour, then their combined speed is 80 miles per hour. Since the distance between them is 40 miles, we divide 40 by 80. This will give us 0.5 hours or 30 minutes. To figure out the total distance traveled by the bird, we multiply the speed of the bird by the time it will take the buses to meet. And this would give us 50 times 0.5, so the correct answer is 25 miles. Phew, I'm tired just thinking of that little bird flying all those miles. Hey, if you've aced this test so far, congratulations. You've just unlocked level 2. The riddles will get more and more difficult, so keep your mind sharp. A tortoise is currently at the bottom of a 210 feet hill and is trying to reach the top. Every hour, the tortoise climbs 15 feet and slips down 1 foot. How long will it take the tortoise to reach the top of the hill? Here's the thinking behind this riddle. Every hour, our tortoise buddy climbs a total of 14 feet, right? Since it climbs 15 and slides down 1 foot. According to this, it will take the tortoise 15 hours to get to the top of that cliff, since 15 multiplied by 14 equals 210. This wasn't too bad, huh? Questions such as these ones allow interviewers to test your problem-solving abilities regarding numbers. You know, if you want to work at a space company, you should probably be very, and I mean very, good with numbers. This next riddle is one of Elon Musk's personal favorites. It's short, yet complicated. If anyone here dreams of becoming an employee at SpaceX, you better get this one right. Imagine you're standing on the surface of Earth. You walk 1 mile south, 1 mile west, and 1 mile north. You end up exactly where you started. Where are you? If you answered the North Pole, then you got it right. But the riddle doesn't stop here. If you weren't at the North Pole, where else could you be given the exact same instructions? Yup, the South Pole. Here's how this works. This riddle presumes that the world is a perfect sphere. And if that were the case, the only place where you could walk 1 mile south, west, and north, and end up in the same place is at one of the poles. Got it? To get to level 3, you have to answer this riddle correctly. There are 2 strings in a room. All you know is that each string takes exactly 1 hour to burn. Your task is to time exactly 45 minutes, using the strings as your only source to find out the time. How can you do it? Here's how it goes. You should light both ends of the first string and one end of the second string. In 30 minutes, the first string would have burnt completely because it's burning twice as fast with both ends on fire. Then, you should light the second end of the second string. The second string would still have 30 minutes left to burn, but by lighting its other end, the rope will burn twice as fast, aka in 15 minutes. Voila! You've timed 45 minutes without the help of any clock whatsoever. Hey, smarty pants! You've just made it to level 3. If I were the interviewer, I would probably give you the job already. But just for the sake of it, be sure to answer everything correctly, okay? These final questions are way more job specific. As all questions in this video, they were used in real job interviews. So we're basically training you to ace your interviews. For example, if you were applying for a position at JP Morgan, this is the type of question you would have to answer. How many streetlights are there in New York City? Can you figure out the number before the time runs out? As impossible as this might sound to guess the answer without a Google search, what JP Morgan wants to test is your estimating abilities. Here's the logic. New York City boroughs have an ordered urban grid, so your first task would be to estimate the number of horizontal and vertical blocks in each borough. Then, estimate the number of streetlights each block may have. Multiply that number by 5 since New York City is made out of 5 boroughs. And then you'll have your number. If it's somewhere close to 300,000, then you got it right. If you were applying for a position at a healthcare company, you'd be faced with this fruity riddle. An apple costs 40 cents, a banana costs 60 cents, and a grapefruit costs 80 cents. How much does a pear cost? Yikes. I had to read it a few times before getting any idea of what to do with it. The key to answering this riddle is to focus on the vowels. If you charge 20 cents per vowel, the 2-vowel word apple will cost 40 cents. By the same logic, the 3-vowel banana will cost 60 cents, and the 4-vowel grapefruit will be 80 cents. In this scenario, a pear will cost 40 cents, and that's your answer. You've made it to the end of this test. Check your armpits. If you're sweating, that probably means you've done a very good job. To finish off, here's an interesting question a tech company asks their interviewees. How would you describe the internet to someone who has just woken up from a 30-year coma? Different from all the other questions, this one has no right or wrong answer. You might try to compare it with something that existed 30 years ago, for example. Or you might just go into Spielberg mode and describe this near sci-fi world we are living in nowadays. Either way, I hope you've got the job.
Adding large numbers in your head when you don't even have a piece of paper can be difficult. I have a method for you that will make it way easier. Just make all the numbers you need to add a multiple of 10. Let's take 2 3-digit numbers as an example. 543 plus 339. Even adding these numbers on paper can be challenging, but rounding them up will make it much more manageable. In this case, 543 is rounded up to become 550, and 339 turns into 340. Now, adding these two is not much of a problem, so let's do it. 550 plus 340 equals 890. Cool, but that's not the answer to the original equation. To determine that, we need to remember how much we added to the initial numbers. That would be easy. We just need to subtract the original numbers from the rounded up ones. The results look like this. 550 minus 543 will be 7, and 340 minus 339 will be 1. Now add 7 and 1, and you'll get 8. That's how much extra we have in our rounded up sum. So the only thing left to do now is subtract 8 from 890, and you'll get your final result. 890 minus 8 is 882. And the answer is 543 plus 339 is 882. Finding any percentage that can be divided by 5 of any number using just your head is actually no big deal if you know your times tables well enough. Say you see a 5% discount to something you want to buy in a store, and you'd like to know the exact amount of money you're going to save. Let's count. Let's assume your purchase without the discount is $142. You need to determine 5% of that sum. First, move the decimal point left by 1 digit, which would give you 14.2. Now divide this number by 2, and you'll get 7.1, which is also the answer to your question. The principle is simple. Finding 10% of any amount is easy, because you only need to move the decimal point left by 1 place, which we did in our first step. And 5% is 10% divided by 2, right? So that's why we divided the resulting sum by 2 as well. Finding any percentage that's a multiplier of 5 can be done in a more or less similar way. Let's take 35% of 324 as another example. Again, move the decimal point left by 1 place, getting 32.4. Now, you need to do 2 different actions with this number. First, multiply it by 3, which will get you 97.2. Second, divide the same number by 2, resulting in 16.2. And now, all that's left to do is add these numbers. 97.2 plus 16.2 equals 113.4. That's your answer. 35% of 324 is 113.4. Let me explain in case you didn't get all these calculations. First things first, you divide the number by 10 and move the decimal point left. Then, you need to multiply your number by 3.5. It's not easy to do it in your head, so you separate the numbers before and after the decimal point. First, you multiply your number by 3, and then by 0.5. To multiply any number by 0.5, you actually need to divide it by 2, since 0.5 is half of your number. And then, when you're done with all the multiplications, just add the results to get your initial number multiplied by 3.5. This might sound complex at first, but if you practice this method a bit, you'll find it very easy to apply. Now let's get away from complex calculations and have some fun instead. You've been told otherwise, but you can prove that 2 plus 2 might actually equal 5. Here's the simplest method to do so. Disclaimer, don't try to do this in your math class. So, we have the universal truth that 0 equals 0. Now, 0 can be a result of subtracting a number from itself. Let's take numbers 4 and 10 for our case, and we'll have this equation. 4 minus 4 equals 10 minus 10. Taking it one step further, 4 can be written as 2 to the power of 2, and 10 can be written as 2 times 5. In the end, we get this equation. 2 to the power of 2 minus 2 to the power of 2 equals 2 times 5 minus 2 times 5. Next, in math terms, we can simplify it by using brackets, and here's what we get. 2 minus 2 times 2 plus 2 equals 5 times 2 minus 2. Again, according to the rules of math, we can cancel 2 minus 2 on both sides, and the result will be 2 plus 2 equals 5. Yeah, that's how you prove the impossible. Math can do incredible things. Okay, getting back to real math tricks. Squaring numbers after 10 can be a pain, but there's an easy way to square any two-digit number that ends in 5. Let's take 45 as an example. First, you need to multiply the first digit by itself plus 1. That is, 4 plus 1 is 5. So you need to multiply 4 by 5, getting 20. Now add 25 at the end, and you get 2025. That's it. Here's your answer. 45 squared is 2025. Check it with a calculator if you don't believe me. A simple way to multiply any, and I mean any at all, number by 5 has probably never been mentioned to you at school. There's a slight difference in methods depending on whether the number is even or odd. Let's start with even numbers. Say you have to multiply 3,566 by 5. First, divide the number by 2, getting 1,758. Now add a 0 to it, and you've got your answer, 17,580. Now let's try odd numbers. We'll take 2,463 as an example. First of all, subtract 1 from the number, getting 2,462. Now divide it by 2 again, resulting in 1,231. And then, instead of a 0, put a 5 at the end, which will get you 12,315. This is your answer. 2,463 times 5 equals 12,315. All right. Now I've got a puzzle for you. See if you can solve it in 10 seconds. You have an equation made of matchsticks, which reads 2 equals 6. You need to move just one matchstick to make the equation true. The timer is set. Again, this is a puzzle, so there's no conventional solution to it. If you move one matchstick from the left side and put it so that its middle is on top of the 1 on the right side, you'll get a square root symbol, and thus the equation is true. 1 equals the square root of 1. But there's also a second solution. You can move one of the matches forming a V in the right part so that they form an X instead. This way, you'll get 11 written in Arabic numerals that equals 11 written in Roman numerals. Problem solved. Let's have another math riddle, shall we? A book costs $1 plus half its price. How much does the book cost? I'll give you 10 seconds again, or just pause the video if you need more time. To solve this riddle, you need to build an equation where B is the cost of the book, and you have to find it. The equation will look like this. B equals 1 plus B over 2. Because to find B, you need to add 1 and half the B. To make it simple, let's write B as B over 2 plus B over 2 in the left side, getting B over 2 plus B over 2 equals 1 plus B over 2. Now we can transfer B over 2 from the right side over to the left and get B over 2 plus B over 2 minus B over 2 equals 1. Subtracting B over 2 from itself leaves us with B over 2 equals 1. So the only thing left to do is multiply 1 by 2, and you'll get B. The answer is B equals 2. Now, if you solve this puzzle on your own, you just might get to Oxford University. In the finals of a logical game, 2 players are contesting for the prize. The prize itself is placed under one of 5 objects you can see on the screen. Sheila was privately told the shape of the object under which the prize was hidden. Colin was privately told the color of that object. Both players are mathematicians and use perfectly logical reasoning to find the answer, and either of them knows that the other was told the shape or the color of the object. The host asks them, "Do either of you know where the prize is?" The players say no. The host then asks, "Do you know now?" They both shake their heads. The host asks again, Do you know now? And the players answer yes in unison. How can this be? And where is the prize? Pause the video if you want to try to crack this puzzle on your own, or watch further to find out the answer. So Sheila was told the shape of the object. So for her, it would be either the red or green triangle, either the green or purple circle, or the only square there is, the red one. Colin was told the color of the object. So for him, it's either the red triangle or square, either the green triangle or circle, or the only purple circle there is. When the host asked whether either of them knew where the prize was, and they answered no, they both got new information. For Sheila, it was definitely not the square, and since Colin didn't know the answer either, it wasn't the purple circle. Colin used the same reasoning, so they both eliminated 2 options. After the second question, neither of them still knew the answer, and they got new info again. Sheila was left with 2 triangles and 1 circle. She knew the shape of the object, so if she still didn't know where the prize was, it couldn't be the circle. And Colin was left with 2 green and 1 red shape. Since he knew the color but didn't know the answer, it couldn't be the red one. Thus, 2 more objects were eliminated for both. And finally, after the third time the host asked them about the prize, they knew for certain that it was the green triangle, using only their initial information.
There was an incident in a secret laboratory. One of the scientists released a substance that turned people into vampires. Detective Reed arrived at the scene to interview 3 witnesses. The first scientist, Michael, said,
I stopped by the lab this morning to pick up some notes. The machines were working just fine, and I didn't see anyone. I took the papers and left.
The second scientist, Lindsay, said, I closed the lab at night. One of the PCs was faulty, but I was very tired and decided to leave it till the morning. Unfortunately, I overslept. And the third scientist, Jennifer, said,
I got up early and went to the lab to check the devices. No one seems to have entered the room. I fixed one of the computers and left.
Which one of them was lying? Michael is lying. One of the computers was actually faulty, and Jennifer spent the whole morning fixing it. If Michael had walked into the lab, he would have known about it, or Jennifer would have noticed him. So he must have entered the lab after the others had already left. But why would someone release such a dangerous substance? Michael didn't want to confess, so Detective Reed decided to investigate the crime scene to find out who was behind this. Take a look at this picture. Is there anything suspicious? It looks like Michael dropped an ID card. And look, it doesn't belong to him. The name on the card is George Wilson. Let's ask him about the incident. Detective Reed went to Mr. Wilson's office to ask him about the incident.
Oh yeah, I gave my pass to Michael,
Mr. Wilson said.
But that's only because I had left something in the lab. My glasses. I didn't have time, so I asked Michael to pick them up.
Well, that's not a very clever excuse, but how can you prove the man is lying? There's an open glasses case on the table, and the glasses are inside. But Mr. Wilson, didn't you say that you left them in the lab?
Oh, did I say my glasses? Sorry, I meant my papers. I made this mistake because I asked my secretary Shirley to look for my glasses yesterday.
Find something to prove Mr. Wilson is lying. There's a calendar on Shirley's desk. Yesterday was her day off. It's marked red. Mr. Wilson is lying. Mr. Wilson was arrested, but people have already begun to turn into vampires. Can you guess who's actually a vampire? The woman on the right. She's putting on her makeup, but do you see? She isn't reflected in the mirror.
Meanwhile, those who haven't turned into vampires gather everything they might need to survive. Which of these people is more likely to stay alive? All these supplies won't protect the guy on the right from vampires. As for the girl on the left, she's stocked up on what she can to defeat the vampires. She has a higher chance of survival. Let's check out the subway. There are 2 women here. Which of them is not pregnant? The girl on the left is not pregnant. Look, her belly is of a very strange shape. That's because she has hidden her survival supplies under her clothes. Vampires decided to throw a party. Who among those present is actually an undercover human? The guy on the left is a human. He's wearing makeup and false teeth. Nikki is also trying to survive. She packs her things and decided to move to a neighboring town. But suddenly, a vampire charged at her car. He damages the vehicle and takes away some supplies. Fortunately, he doesn't manage to bite Nikki. She escapes. Nikki has to stay home. The next day, a young man knocks on her door and asks for help. Is it okay to let him in? Nope. He has the same scar on his cheek like the vampire from the day before. Nikki continues to hide at home. One day, some girl starts knocking on her back door. Please help! A pack of vampires is chasing me! Nikki opens the door. The girl is out of breath, but she manages to say, They're almost here! Can I come in? Is it safe to let her in? No! This girl is a vampire. Anyone in this situation would immediately run inside the house, but vampires can't come in without an invitation. Nikki was checking her house and suddenly noticed that there was someone in the attic. She approached the shadows. It was a father and daughter.
Please don't kick us out. Sorry, we snuck in without permission. We've been trying to hide from the vampires.
The father said, Is it safe to let them stay? Yes, firstly, they're sitting in the sun, but their skin seems to be okay. Secondly, they managed to enter the house without an invitation. That means they're humans. Nikki let them stay. Let's take a little break. Time for some quick riddles. Think fast. A vampire lived in a 1-story black cottage. He had a black cat, a black fish, a black computer, a black armchair, a black desk, and a black phone. Everything was black. What color was the staircase? There was no staircase in that house because it was a 1-story cottage. 3 vampires are walking fast. The first vampire says, 2 other vampires are walking behind me. The second one says,
1 vampire is walking behind me, and 1 is walking in front of me.
And the third one says, 2 vampires are walking in front of me, and 2 are walking behind me. How is that possible? These vampires are walking in circles. Humans, vampires, and werewolves gathered in one mansion. There are as many werewolves as there are vampires. There are as many vampires as there are humans. How many creatures are there if 3 of them are werewolves? There are 9 creatures in the mansion, 3 werewolves, 3 vampires, and 3 humans. Now let's go back to Nikki and her adventures. Nikki, Peter, and his daughter Becky decided to go to another town together. It takes 2 days to get there. They drove all day until night fell. Now they have 3 options.
First, they can continue driving until the morning, despite the fact that they may meet a lot of vampires along the way. Second, they can spend the night in the nearest cave with bats. And third, they can sleep in the car. Which option would be the safest for them? Sleeping in the car is a bad idea. Vampires can sneak up on them in the middle of the night. A night in a cave is also a bad option. Vampires can hide among these bats. The safest option is to keep driving. Although they'll probably meet vampires, they have a chance to survive if they drive faster. They drove really fast and managed to reach the city by the morning. But when they got out of the car, they discovered they were surrounded by vampires. To escape, they need to choose one of 3 roads. On the first road, there's a pack of vampires. They're coming straight at the guys. There are wild hogs on the second road. The third road leads through a dark alley with hundreds of bats. Which of these 3 ways is the safest? The second way is the best option because the sun illuminates it, so vampires can't follow Nikki and her new friends. Plus, these dogs don't look too unfriendly. The guys reached 3 stores. Now they need to decide which of the stores is safe to enter. Nikki, Peter, and Becky look through the windows to see what's inside. The first store is empty, but it seems to be full of traps. The second store is full of survivors, but they look dangerous. And the third store seems empty as well, but it's completely dark there, and you can't see anything except for dozens of bats. Where should Nikki lead her friends? The first store is the safest. If Nikki, Peter, and Becky notice these traps, then the chances are high they'll be able to avoid them. It's worth a try. There's a man in the city who's trying to survive by hiding among vampires. Nikki spent a week photographing vampires to figure out who he was. Will you be able to see who is actually human in these photos? You can see this man has all 4 photos. In one of the photos, he's eating garlic bread, and in this one, his leg is exposed to the sun. He's only pretending to be a vampire. Nikki and the others decided to invite this man to join their group. The man was delighted and said that his name was Douglas. He was a journalist looking for safe places for people. He suggested creating a password that only humans could figure out. They came up with this one: HAWUH. Can you guess why? If you look at the reflection of this word in the mirror, you will see Huwan, or Huwan. Flip the letter W and you get the word human. But only those who get reflected in the mirror will be able to solve this puzzle. Nikki and her friends settle down in this town. Can you guess which of these houses belongs to Nikki, in which Peter and Becky live, and in which Douglas has chosen? House number 1 belongs to Peter and Becky. There are 2 bicycles next to it. House number 2 belongs to the journalist. Do you see his equipment? And the remaining house, house number 3, belongs to Nikki. I have a math workout for you today, but first, let's have a little warm-up. How many ducks do you see in this picture? Don't forget about the hidden ones. There are 15 ducks. Did you find them all? Okay, now count all the flowers. Right, there are 17 of them. Can you spot 3 differences between these photos? Here they are. And another one. There are 3 differences again. Do you see them? Okay, here they are. Good job. Okay, now a bit of math for you. Look at this picture. The only number multiplied by itself that gives 25 is 5, so this shape equals 5. This way, the other shape from the second equation is 4. 4 and 6 make 10, so the red circle equals 6. Then, 5 multiplied by 6 gives us 30. This one is similar, but a bit harder, so be very attentive. Okay, 3 pairs of sneakers make 30. Then 1 pair equals 10. Then 1 cat with a whistle must be 5. In this case, 2 whistles equal 4, so 1 whistle is 2. Now the last one. A pair of sneakers is 10. We know that a cat with a whistle is 5, but this kitty doesn't have a whistle. But since a whistle is 2, the cat without a whistle must be 3. And a whistle equals 2. So it's 10 plus 3 multiplied by 2, which is 16. Ava and Dakota are sisters. When Dakota was 18, Ava was half her age. Now that Dakota is 26, how old is Ava? When Dakota was 18, Ava was 9, so the age difference between the sisters is 9 years. If Dakota is 26 now, then Ava is 17. When Polaris was 16 years old, her mother was 39. If Polaris's mom is twice her daughter's age, how old is Polaris? The age difference between Polaris and her mother is 23 years. That means now, Polaris is 23 and her mom is 46. Yvonne had a big collection of CDs. One day, she decided to clean up her house and counted that she had 172 CDs. She sold them all except for 7 CDs of her favorite singer and 5 CDs of her favorite band. How many CDs does Yvonne have now? Well, if she gave up all but 7 plus 5, it leaves her with 12 CDs. In PE class, all students were standing in a circle. If the 5th student was exactly opposite the 12th student, how many students were in the circle? Between student number 5 and student number 12, there are 6 other students. If these two are opposite each other, then on the other side between them, there are also 6 students. This makes 14 students in the circle. Danica owns a candy store. She sells candy for $0.12 a dozen. How many candy pieces can you get if you have $1? $0.12 for a dozen mean that 1 candy costs 1 cent. So if you have $1, you can get 100 candies. For casting a spell, Flora should put these stones in the correct order. She has 4 of them: purple, green, red, and blue. The instruction says, 1. The red one only has 1 stone next to it. 2. The green and purple stones aren't next to each other. 3. The green stone is the last one. Can you help Flora? If the red stone only has 1 other stone next to it, then it's either the first one or the last one. But since green is the last one, then red is the first one. If the green and purple stones aren't next to each other, then there's the blue stone between them. So, the correct order is red, purple, blue, and green. It was midday. Kaylin was exploring a big local forest. She found an abandoned mansion and entered it. The door closed behind her back and wouldn't open.
Oh no!
Kaylin got trapped inside. There were 3 other doors leading to freedom, but there was a catch. Behind the first door, there was a huge pit that would take her miles underground. Behind the second door, there was a magnifying glass that concentrated sunlight and burned everybody and everything that entered. Behind the third door, there was a hungry and dangerous lion that would eat anybody and anything that entered.
Uh-oh.
How can Kaylin escape? Kaylin should wait until sunset. When the sun goes down, the second door with the magnifying glass won't be dangerous anymore. Amelia, Belle, Chloe, and Della are identical quadruplets who always prank people. One day, one of the girls' teachers had to let Amelia leave the class early. She had a doctor's appointment, but the woman wasn't sure which girl was Amelia. The quadruplets had decided to help her. Here is what they said. Amelia is one of the girls standing in the middle. No, Amelia is one of the girls standing on the sides. I'm Amelia. I'm not Amelia. 3 girls lied and 1 told the truth. Who is Amelia? If Amelia is the first girl, then 2 girls told the truth, the second and the fourth ones. If Amelia is the second girl, then the first and the fourth girls told the truth. If Amelia is the third girl, then the first and the third ones told the truth. But if Amelia is the fourth girl, then only the second girl told the truth. So, Amelia must be the fourth girl. Esme was having a walk in the forest and got lost. She found a witch's house, petted her black cat, and asked the witch to send her home. The witch wanted to play a game. If Esme won, she'd send her home. But if Esme lost, she'd have to stay with the witch forever.
We'll be saying numbers between 1 and 10. The next player will have to choose a number that's between 1 to 10 greater than the previous one. The first person to say 50 wins. You can start.
How can Esme win? If she wants to say 50, she needs the witch to say a number between 40 and 49. So, before 50, she has to say 39. If she wants to say 39, the witch has to say a number between 29 and 38. So, Esme has to say 28, and before that, 17, and before that, 6. So Esme must start with 6 and then say 17, 28, 39, and 50. Cassidy woke up in a dungeon and couldn't remember what happened to her. She needed to get out, but the door was locked and required a password. Can you guess what the password is? Every next number is made by moving the last digit of the previous 4 to the front. So, the password must be 4728. Mrs. Davies is an elderly lady telling a story of her life.
After I lived 1/4 of my life, I got my first car. I married 1/12 of my life later. 1/6 of my life later, I started a business. 1/4 of my life later, I got my first granddaughter. She just turned 18.
How old is Mrs. Davies? Let's say Mrs. Davies is X years old. 1/4 of her life, till she gets her first car, X is 4. Then we add 12 till her marriage. X till opening her business, 4 till the birth of her granddaughter, and finally, 18 years from then till now. It should all be equal to X. If you solve this equation, you'll figure out that X is equal to 72. So, Mrs. Davies must be 72 years old. Esme was walking in the forest, and you know what? She didn't get lost this time. She knew how to get home, but the other road led to the witch's house, and the girl recently came up with a cool riddle for the witch. So, Esme decided to pay her a visit. She offered a deal. If the witch couldn't solve her riddle, Esme would get her cat. The witch agreed, and Esme gave her a square piece of paper, 4 inches by 4 inches, with a total area of 16 square inches. Turn it into a square with a total area of 8 square inches without a ruler. How can the witch do it? The witch should fold the 4 corners of the square towards the middle. This way, she'll get a square that is exactly twice as small as the original one. Apparently, the witch gets to keep her cat this time. There's a box filled with balls of different colors, 5 red ones, 8 blue ones, and 11 purple ones. Allison has a tricky task. Blindfolded, she has to keep picking up balls until she's sure that she has balls of at least 2 different colors. What's the minimum number of balls she should pull out of the box? In the worst case scenario, Allison will be picking up balls of the same color until there are no more of them left in the box. The majority of balls are purple, so if she picks up a purple ball every single time, it'll be 11 balls. And only after that will she get a ball of a different color. So, she should pick up 12 balls.
Serena is a private investigator. This year, she decided to spend her vacation at a fancy ski resort. Serena arrives at the main gates and takes a look at the entrance. Then, she turns around to tip her taxi driver. After that, she returns to the gates and spots 3 changes. Can you also see them? Here they are. Serena enters the hotel. 3 porters offer to carry her bags, but one of them cannot help Serena with her luggage. Can you guess who and why? The guy in the middle has transparent hands that go through the walls. He's a ghost, so it's unlikely he'll be able to carry Serena's physical baggage. Serena approaches the reception desk. She's checking in along with 3 other people.
Hello.
Serena takes a look at her passports and immediately spots the fake one. What about you? The second guy's picture is black and white, but it's not a crime. The third lady's document also looks fine, but the picture of the first lady has snow-capped mountains in the background. No matter what country she's from, the background in the passport photo should be plain, so this ID is fake. Finally, Serena receives a key card for her room. She goes there right away, but unfortunately, the door doesn't open. Serena returns to the reception to complain. She sees another lady complaining about the very same thing. Can you guess what's going on here? Remember the room number on Serena's key? It's 981. If we turn this number upside down, we'll get 186. The manager confused these 2 keys. The ladies should simply exchange the keys, and the incident will be over.
Okay.
Finally, Serena enters her fancy suite. She takes a couple of pictures to send them to her friend. Can you find 10 differences between them? Feel free to stop the video if you need more time. Are you ready to see the answers? Here are all 10 differences. Serena unpacks her bags to go skiing. Oh no! She forgot her hat at home. Serena goes to the local winter sports store to purchase a new hat. Which items don't belong here? This toy robot, high heel sandals, and a plastic pyramid shouldn't be here. After shopping, Serena decides to visit the local bakery. Can you spot any extra items here? This can of pet food and a dog bowl doesn't belong here, as well as this cat tree. Finally, Serena is in her ski suit. She's riding in a cable car to the top of the mountain with other resort guests. Can you spot the one who hasn't paid for the lift? I bet this little mouse didn't pay for the ride. The fire alarm wakes Serena up in the middle of the night. One of the cottages on the territory of the ski resort caught fire.
Oh no.
Luckily, all the guests and staff members are safe. Serena finds 3 suspects. One of these people started the fire for sure. Can you guess who? It's the guy in the bathrobe. He's hiding a bottle of fire starter liquid in his pocket.
Oh my god.
In the morning, Serena goes to the breakfast buffet. There are 4 croissants on the tray. One of them is made of plastic. Can you spot which one? Someone has bitten off the first croissant, so it's probably real. The third croissant was a little burnt, so it's real dough. Take a closer look at the 4th croissant. Some chocolate leaked out of it onto the plate, so it must be real too. Therefore, only the 2nd croissant can be plastic. Serena starts her breakfast. A young lady named Maya is eating with her husband, not far from Serena's table. Suddenly, Maya gets sick and faints. Her husband calls doctors and they arrive immediately. They conclude that Maya has eaten something poisonous. The husband says, "It's impossible. My wife didn't eat or drink anything today except for the breakfast on this table. I ate it too, and I feel fine." The doctors test the food, and surprisingly, it's perfectly fine. Serena has already cracked this mystery. What about you? The poison was in Maya's lip balm. Serena suspects that Maya's husband poisoned her, so she decides to follow him to find some evidence. He enters his hotel room for a moment and then leaves. Serena sneaks into the room. She finds nothing suspicious except a hotel notebook. Someone tore out exactly 1 page from it. Fortunately, the writer pressed the pen very hard and left traces on the next page. Serena shades the paper with a pencil and reveals the following text. Can you help her decode this message? If we read this text backwards, we'll get Maya is in the hospital. Finish the job.
Oh my god.
Serena rushes to the hospital to get ahead of the criminal. She enters Maya's room and faces 4 clowns. One of them is the criminal, and the rest are just actors who perform all over the hospital to uplift the patients. Can you spot the imposter? The guy with the red bow is the criminal. He sneaked it from the decorations in this room because he was rushing to disguise himself. Serena calls the hospital guards to arrest the imposter, but he pushes everyone away and escapes through the back door. Serena follows him and ends up in the parking lot. The criminal is hiding in one of these cars.
Come to me.
Can you find him? These 3 single cars seem empty and they don't have any signs of break-in. Meanwhile, someone is moving in the back of this pickup truck. Busted! The police arrest the criminal and Maya's husband. Meanwhile, Serena returns to the hotel late at night to get some rest. Oh no! Her room is a mess! Someone clearly rummaged through her things.
What's this?
In the morning, Serena questions 3 suspects. The cleaning lady says, "Yesterday afternoon, I changed your bed sheets, washed coffee stains off the carpet, and left." The manager says, "I sent a repairman to fix the sink in your bathroom, but I myself didn't enter." The repairman says, "Last night I visited your room to fix the sink. Your stuff was all over the place, but I just thought you were a messy person." Who's lying? The cleaning lady. She said she had removed the coffee stains from the carpet, but they're still here. Serena lands on a chair in the hotel lounge to sign a stack of postcards for her friends. Suddenly, she smells hot chocolate from the cafeteria. She goes there to order a cup for herself. In a couple of minutes, Serena returns to her chair. Oh no! The postcards are gone. She questions 3 people nearby. Mike says, "I was reading a book all the time, so I didn't look around." Richard says, "I was taking pictures of my girlfriend Stella. You can take a look if you don't believe me." And Stella says, "Richard is telling the truth. I was posing for the camera. Why would I pay attention to your stuff?" After hearing their stories, Serena knows for sure who's guilty. What about you? Take a closer look at Richard's pictures. Stella is in front of a fireplace. If we zoom in, we'll see the postcards in the fire. These liars use them to make the flame burn brighter and look better in the pictures.
What?
Richard apologizes and buys a new stack of postcards for Serena. She grabs one of them and writes the following rebus on it. Can you crack the meaning of this message? To infinity and beyond. Serena is having small talk with Mike. She asks about his hobbies. Instead of answering, Mike draws the following rebus. Can you crack it? He likes to swim underwater. Serena says, I see you like puzzles. Crack my riddle and I'll get you a huge cup of hot chocolate. Mike agrees. Here's the riddle. The task is to replace the question mark with the correct letter. The letters imply the last letter of the sum of these numbers. 3 times 6 is 18, so the answer is N. 3 times 7 is 21, so the answer is E. And so on. 3 times 0 is 0. That's why we should replace the question mark with 0.
Want to know the future? These questions will help you reveal some clues. Pick your cards and don't forget to count your score. The results are waiting at the end of this video. Here's the first question. Pick a door. Door A brings 1 star to your score. If you choose door B, add 4 points to your basket. Option C costs 2 stars. D brings you 3 points. What would you want the most out of these options? Hit the jackpot? Have a date with your celebrity crush? Get some sleep? Become a Superman and save the world? Card A brings 3 stars to your score. If you chose B, add 2 points to your basket. Card C costs 1 star. Option D brings you 4 points. Pick an open road that you like the most. The mountain highway brings you 3 stars. If you chose the desert, add 4 points to your score. Sunrise Highway costs 2 stars. The road through the rainforest brings you 1 point. How often do you daydream about your future? Every 5 seconds? Sometimes. Never. Future? I don't even know this word. Option A adds 1 star to your score. B brings you 2 points. If your choice is C, it's worth 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. Which picture inspires you the most? Northern Lights? Rainy forest? Sakura in blossom? Sunset on a wild beach? If your choice is option A, add 4 stars to your basket. Option B is worth 3 stars. Option C brings you 2 points. And option D is worth 1 star. What's your idea of a perfect vacation? Hiking in the woods by myself? I love to be alone. Luxury spa with my besties. Because we're worth it. Family gathering in a country house. I can't imagine my life without them. Extreme sports and risky adventures. Card A brings you 2 stars. Card B adds 3 points to your score. If you chose C, add 1 star to your basket. Option D brings you 4 points. Are you worried about your future? Sometimes I like to have a plan B. Never. I live in the moment. Always, I try to control everything. Nope, I spend all my time regretting my past. If you picked option A, add 3 stars to your score. Option B brings you 4 points. Option C is worth 1 star. If D is your choice, it brings you 2 points. What's your most common emotion? Peace, enthusiasm, joy, anxiety. Option A brings 3 stars to your score. If you chose B, add 4 points to your basket. Option C brings you 1 point. And option D is worth 2 stars. What is your favorite activity? Reading books and watching movies. Partying with friends and meeting new people. Studying and developing new skills. Creating art and sharing content. If you picked option A, add 1 star to your score. Option B brings you 4 points. Option C is worth 3 points. Option D brings you 2 points. How many of your life goals have you already accomplished? 0. My to-do list for this life is 50% completed. All of them. I want it, I got it. I don't set any goals. The universe knows better. If you chose A, add 1 star to your score. Option B brings you 2 points. C is worth 3 points. Option D brings you 4 points. How would you describe your social life? Social what? I have a couple of loyal friends. Every human being is my friend. My friend circle is always changing. Card A adds 2 stars to your score. If you picked option B, take 1 star. Did you pick option C? Award yourself with 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. If you could get any career right now, what would you choose? Actor. I love to be the center of attention. Doctor. I want to help others. Architect. I like to create spaces. Astronaut. I'd love to discover new worlds. If you chose A, add 2 stars to your score. Option B brings you 1 point. C costs 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. Pick a lady you like the most. If you picked Lady A, grab 2 points. Option B adds 1 star to your score. Option C brings you 3 stars. And answer D brings you 4 points. How are you preparing for your future? I create beautiful wish boards. I just talk about it with my friends. Thinking and finding solutions to my current issues. I take it step by step every day. If you picked option A, add 1 star to your score. Option B brings you 2 points. 3 will cost 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. What is your biggest dream? A loving relationship? Money and a luxurious lifestyle? Pursuing my true passion? Making someone special truly happy? If you chose A, add 2 stars to your score. Option B brings you 3 points. C costs 4 stars. And if your choice was option D, you get 1 point. Do you believe in yourself? Kinda. Yes, all the time. Nope, I'm not exactly perfect, bro. I prefer to take action and not think about that. If you chose A, add 1 star to your score. Option B brings you 3 points. Option C is worth 2 stars. Option D is worth 3 points. Do your parents support you? Nope, I'm on my own in this world. Not that much, they got their own lives. Yes, my happiness means everything for them. Just a little when I ask for help. If you chose A, add 3 stars to your score. Option B brings you 4 points. Option C costs 1 star. Finally, option D brings you 2 points. Pick a quote that you like the most. Time is money. Benjamin Franklin. When life gives you lemons, make lemonade. Albert Hubbard. If you want to be happy, be Leo Tolstoy. The journey of 1,000 miles begins with 1 step. Lao Tzu. Option A adds 3 stars to your score. Option B brings you 2 points. If you chose C, take 1 star. Option D brings you 3 points. Which sounds most like you? Friendly, cool, popular. Serious, shy, reliable. Calm, wise, peaceful. Drama queen. Card A adds 2 stars to your score. Option B brings you 1 point. If you chose C, grab 3 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. Which plant do you like the most? Sunflowers always warm my heart. Cactus, we have a lot in common. Orchids, I love their sophisticated beauty. Roses, what could be better than the classics? Card A adds 4 stars to your score. Option B brings you 1 point. If you chose C, 3 stars are coming your way. Those who went for D get 2 points. Choose an emoji. Laughing, shy, poker face, sunglasses. A adds 1 star to your score. B brings you 2 points. Option C adds 4 stars to your score. D brings you 3 points. What would you choose? Get rich but never find true love? Find true love but never get rich. I'm already rich. Where's my soulmate? I don't play these games, bro. Card A adds 3 points to your score. Option B brings you 1 point. If you chose C, grab 2 stars. Option D brings you 4 points. Ready for the results? Make sure you sum up your score correctly. Let's go! 22 to 35 points. Your future is about having a beautiful partnership. You'll make it with the right person who shares your life goals and values. Together, you'll build the life of your dreams step by step. This journey will bring joy and satisfaction every day. 35 to 50 points. Your future will force you to reconsider your idea of love. You'll meet your true soulmate when you least expect it. Your heart will recognize them at first. This person will inspire you to become a better version of yourself every day. This experience will be beautiful. 50 to 65 points. Congratulations! Your future is about having your dream career. You're pretty determined, and you can make it if you really want it. Stay focused and know that the stars are on your side. You may even outgrow your original dream and switch to building a community of like-minded people to share your experience and give them a sense of purpose. 65 to 88 points. Your future is about to surprise you. The chances to make your biggest dreams come true are very high. Random conversation, a new job offer, or a party invitation can turn your entire life upside down in a good way. So don't settle for compromises and go for the new opportunities. Remember that wishes tend to come true in unexpected ways, so keep your eyes open.
Here we go. Stella is a cleaning lady in a 3-story business center. Late in the evening, she finishes cleaning the big boss's office. Stella is the last person in the entire building, so she locks the doors and goes home. The next morning, the boss calls her and yells, "Someone wrote scammer on the wall near his desk with blue paint." The boss questions 3 suspects. The guard said, "I was feeling sick yesterday, so I left earlier and asked Stella to lock all the doors with her keys." The manager says, "This paint was supposed to be used for the basement. I guess someone had stolen the paint from the storage room. As for me, I've spent the evening with my family, and they can confirm my words." And the local interior decorator says, "Yesterday, I was working from home. So, who's guilty?" The guard. Take a look at his shoes. He left some footprints on the floor, and they look identical to the paint footprints left in the boss's office. Kyle and Amy are having dinner at a restaurant. Can you spot what's wrong here? She has 2 forks. You're in a land where 30 men and 2 women are dressed in conservative black and white outfits. They begin to fight as soon as any of them moves. Can you guess where you are? You're on a chessboard. Welcome to the food market. There's a zombie hiding somewhere here. Can you see him? Over here. Can you help the police spot a bank robber in this amusement park? Hello. Let's take a look at all of these emojis. Can you find any food? There's shrimp over here. What about this collection? Can you see anything edible? There are 2 options, actually. Let's go ahead and see if you can find a building among these emojis. There it is. Next set. Can you see a human among these emojis? Hello. I bet you can find a body part in this variety. This nose over here. Can you see any flowers among all these emojis? There are 2 flowers actually, here and here. Can you spot what's wrong here? The reflection doesn't match reality. Can you see anything odd here? This lady doesn't have any reflection. Wicked witch kidnaps young women in the town. The police had been tracking her for 6 months, and finally, they detected her hideout uptown. They break in and find 3 young ladies with their hands tied. The police questions all women. Sally says, "I've been here for a month or so. I'm so glad you found us." Bella says, "This witch only gave us some bread. We were starving." And Rosie says, "I've spent a month in the darkness. I thought I'd never see the daylight again." The police know at once that one of them is the witch. Can you guess who? Sally. If she had been there for a month, her nails would grow and the nail polish would peel. George works in a museum as an appraisal expert. One day, a stranger brings him 3 antique Japanese vases. He says, "They're precious. These vases were passed down in my family from generation to generation. They're worth millions, but I would like to sell them to your museum at a huge discount so that everyone can admire them." George examines the vases and finds out that only one of them isn't fake. Can you guess which one? The first piece looks pretty ancient, but why would an ancient Japanese vase have English letters as part of its decoration? The third vase depicts an elegant lady in a traditional costume who's holding a smartphone? Therefore, only the second vase is original. Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any gadgets? There are 2 options, actually. Can you find a body part in this variety? This palm over here. Let's go ahead and see if you can find a building among these emojis. There it is! Next set. Can you see any animals among these emojis? There are 3 animals here. Can you find any plants among all these emojis? Hello! A powerful wizard kidnaps Kyle's wife. There are 3 tunnels leading to the dungeon where she's imprisoned. A mother bear is cuddling her cubs inside the first tunnel. The second tunnel is filled with hungry wolves who haven't been eating for a year. And a fire-breathing dragon is sleeping inside the third tunnel. It can wake up at any moment and burn anyone who dares to enter. Which way is more or less safe? The second path is the safest. Wolves won't survive without food for so long, which means they're not dangerous or breathing. Let's go ahead and see if you can find an outfit among these emojis. It's over here. Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any money? Ka-ching! Can you find a shoe in this set? There it is! Next set. Can you see any desserts among these emojis? Piece of cake! Literally. Ms. Smith is a rich old lady. Today she's furious because she's found out that her son is having a secret relationship with one of her staff members. 3 women are working in Ms. Smith's mansion. The house cleaner, who has just married their driver, they have a huge debt. the babysitter, who's very poor and brings up 5 siblings, and the gardener, who is a university student. She's not very serious and loves partying. Can you guess who's the secret girlfriend? It's the babysitter. Where did she get money for this jewelry? Billy has lost his cat. Can you help him find it? It's hiding behind this lady. Alex wakes up in a creepy quest room. There are 3 doors, but touching their doorknobs is unsafe. The first one is under high voltage, fatal to humans. The second one is red-hot iron that will burn your hand. And the third one is covered with poison, which is fatal for all beings when injected. Which doorknob should Alex turn to escape? The third one. The poison is only dangerous when injected. Paul leaves his workplace to wash his hands before lunch. He returns to his desk and finds out that someone had eaten his turkey sandwich. Paul checks the crime scene and questions 3 suspects among his co-workers. Mary says, "I've been talking to the manager in his office when the robbery was taking place." Liam says, "I don't need your sandwich, bro. I'm a vegetarian." And Wendy says, "I've been having a conference call in the lobby. I wasn't looking at your desk." Who's lying? Liam. There's a sandwich on his desk. Take a closer look at the package. It says chicken. Therefore, he's not a vegetarian. Can you find any fish among all these emojis? Hello! Let's take a look at this collection of emojis. Can you see any money? Jackpot! Emma takes part in a beauty pageant. She arrives at the auditorium early, gets ready, and has lunch at the local cafeteria because she hasn't been eating or drinking all day. Before going to the stage, Emma faints.
Oh, no.
The doctors find out that someone had poisoned her. The police check all food and drinks at the cafeteria and find no poison. They interrogate 4 witnesses. The cook says, "I only served allergy-friendly snacks and drinks." The contest manager says all the models had been eating and drinking the same food, but Emma was the only one who got poisoned. She must have eaten something wrong at home. The rival beauty pageant contestant says, "I've done all the preparations at home, so I've just arrived." And the makeup artist says, "I was too busy with my duties, so I haven't even entered the cafeteria." Can you guess who poisoned Emma? The makeup artist. Lipstick was the only thing that touched Emma's mouth that day, apart from the cafeteria food. You suddenly wake up trapped in a dark room. Your only source of light is a candle. There are 2 doors in front of you. Behind one of them, there's a tunnel that will lead you outside to freedom. Behind the other, just a cold brick wall. You have a key that will open only one of the doors, and you can try it just once. So how do you know which door to try? Hold the candle up to each keyhole. The flame will move near the door that leads outside. You escape to freedom, but you need to send some important documents to your friend Beth. You can't mail them in a regular package because the precious papers will get stolen. So you put them in a box and lock it. But Beth doesn't have the key to this lock. How can you send the papers if you can't send the key to the lock separately? First, send the lock box to Beth. She'll attach her own lock and send the box back to you. Then remove your own lock and send the package again. Beth can then remove her lock and finally open the package. Bad news. You get a call one morning from Beth. She says the crucial documents were stolen from her office. They'd been on the desk the evening before, but are nowhere to be found this morning. You immediately go there to question the employees. In no time, you gather 3 suspects. Sean said he had been at the movies last night. Michael had taken his girlfriend to an amusement park. And Christina was at a prestigious art gallery. Who's lying? Sean. His movie ticket isn't torn. Having been caught red-handed, Sean makes a break for it. He hops in his car and drives away. Law enforcement are on the lookout. Sean sees a police car right ahead of him and starts driving toward it. Why would he do that? He was on a bridge. He needed to go toward the patrol car to get to the other side and make his escape. No such luck for poor Sean. He gets caught and locked up. But he starts hearing rumors of an inmate planning to break out. The guards have 2 suspects. First, a quiet bookworm who spends most of his days with his nose buried in sci-fi novels. The second, a big burly tattooed guy who's always working out. Who should Sean become friends with if he wants to get out of here? The bookworm. Look closer, and you'll see his bookmark is actually a file. On Friday afternoon, the owner of that same prestigious art gallery discovered that 4 of the most famous artists' self-portraits had been stolen during an exhibition. The police show up to do an investigation, and now they have 3 suspects. Sarah, the artist, said she disappeared into one of the studios to paint. John, the security guard, explained he was just waiting outside and had no idea the portraits were gone. Daniel, the caterer, stated he was at a nearby store picking up extra napkins when the robbery took place. So, who's the thief? It's the security guard. He couldn't have known the stolen paintings were portraits if he was standing outside. As fate would have it, there was another incident that night. Michael, who never really liked what passed for art in modern times, rushed into the gallery and caused millions of dollars worth of damage to several paintings. Yet the gallery's owner thanked him for his actions. How come? Michael is a firefighter. The water from his hose damaged several masterpieces, but he still managed to extinguish the fire and save many more works. They awarded Michael a big check in gratitude. He heads home just in time to get his 5 kids all packed up for a camping trip that weekend. Mike and his wife are really looking forward to having the weekend for themselves to relax. But when they woke up on Saturday, they discovered the check was missing from their safe. Once the officers showed up, they interviewed the 3 people who were in the house that morning. The chef said he was in the kitchen getting school lunches packed. The cleaner said he finished cleaning quickly that day and left early. The butler had just gotten back after taking the kids to camp 3 hours away. Who's lying? It's the chef. It's Saturday, so there's no school, and the kids have gone camping. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, a scientist is working on something bizarre. He invites Kevin and Claire as blind test subjects for his new serum invention. He gives them each a glass of ice-cold lemonade. Kevin drinks his fast, but Claire apprehensively waits to see the side effects on him first. After 2 hours, nothing happens, so she drinks her glass. 2 minutes later, her skin turns green. If both the drinks had the serum, why was only Claire affected? The serum was in the ice. Since Kevin drank his fast, none of it got in the lemonade. Claire runs out of the lab in horror. She gets in her car and speeds off. As she's driving down a long, empty road, one of her tires pops off. Good thing she has a spare in the trunk. But here's the problem. She now has no lug nuts to put the spare on with. So what should Claire do? Unscrew one lug nut from each of the other 3 wheels and use them to attach the spare tire. It'll be enough to get to the nearest garage safely. As Claire is putting on her spare tire, the scientist catches up to her. He hands her 4 pills and tells her it's a complex cure to the green face serum. 2 of the pills are an antidote, and the other 2 are a catalyst that activates it. Claire must take 1 of each type together. If she takes 2 of the same, her face will stay green forever. Just as the scientist is handing her the pills, he trips and they get all mixed up. They look identical. What should Claire do? Grind the tablets up, mix all the powder together, and divide it in 2 parts. Each half will have the same amount of catalyst and antidote. It worked, and just in time. Whew! The next day, Claire has a big calculus exam. But funny enough, all the students in the class refuse to take it. Professor Miller can expel only 1 student for skipping the test. All of them know each other's names. If a student knows they'll be expelled, they agree to take the test. How can the professor make all the students take it? She should tell them she'll expel the student whose name comes first alphabetically. Then this person won't skip the test. The next person on the list won't skip either, and so on until the end of the list. Professor Miller grabs her cup of coffee, takes a sip, goes to set it down, and what's this? It's stuck to her hand. Somebody put glue on the cup, and she's got 3 suspects. Look carefully to find out which student is playing tricks on the professor. Sure, the first student has an awfully guilt-ridden look on his face. And the second student's smile looks just like pride for a job well done. But look closer at the third student's pocket. Yep, it's the tip of a glue bottle. Professor Miller is so annoyed by her class's shenanigans, she decides to change her career. Wow. She opens a shoe factory. She's so successful that she builds a second one in another city. But despite her success, the problems don't end. Her employees keep secretly taking shoes from the plant. What can she do to resolve the issue? Have one of her factories start making only left shoes and the other only right ones. One of those shoe swipers is driving a semi-truck full of shoes to sell for a profit. He comes to a tunnel and there's a major problem. His truck is just an inch too tall. But he can still drive through the tunnel. How? Let some of the air out of the tires. It'll lower the truck just enough. When the shoe swiper gets through the tunnel, he comes to a fork in the road. One goes to the town, the other to never-ending wilderness. There are guides standing at each. The catch? One always tells the truth, the other always lies. The driver doesn't know who's who, and he's only allowed one question. What should he ask to find out which road goes to town? Ask either one of the guides which road the other would say is the right way. Then he must choose the opposite. The truth teller knows the other will lie, so they'll point the driver toward the road to nowhere. If he asks the liar, they'll know the other guard would honestly point him toward the town, so they'll again recommend the road to nowhere. The shoe thief takes the road to town, but he has another puzzle to answer before he's allowed to enter. The guard at the gate asks him one simple question. What's the logic in the order of the following words? Fun, blue, bee, more, and dive. Every word rhymes with its number on the list. Fun 1, blue 2, bee 3, and so on. The shoe swiper finally settles down in this new town. Too bad for him, he can only use a payphone to make calls. One day, the phone breaks. He informs the phone company, but they do nothing. He tries again the next day. Same result. The third time, he finally gets them to come out and fix the phone. So, what did he say? He claimed that people were making calls without paying.